Hi, my name is Sangeun. Today we're visiting Fried Factory. I'm really excited to see how pointe shoes are making, and I'm really, curious how it's going to be today. This is so exciting. It's so exciting.
So, welcome. Here we are at the ever-glamorous Freedom London factory in Hackney in the East End of London. We have another factory as well in Leicester, and our pointe shoes are made in both sites. But this has been our home since the early 1970s. So let's have a look around here. So this room is where everything really begins. If you look behind us, actually, these little cubby holes are all the different insoles. You can have a full insole. You can have a cut insole. There's so many different combinations. On the wall there, you can see the little shapes. They look a bit like cookie cutters. Yes. That's what they use to cut everything out. So this is the pointe shoe upper. And again, we make these in our other factory in Leicester. And you can see they're actually inside out.
Yes.
So our pointe shoes are made in a very, very traditional method called the turn shoe method, which is weird. It means everything is inside out and upside down. And the shoemaker moves the shoe the right way. Yeah, but there's this extra layer of sort of fabric here, cotton, and in there, that's where all the ingredients for the block go. Oh, yeah. And everything in our shoes is natural. Everything is nothing man-made. And the whole concept is really very much the same from our founding days when Mr. and Mrs. Freed started the business. Mr. Freed was pretty revolutionary. He made shoes for another brand that sadly doesn't exist anymore, called Gamba. And he came up with this idea because he thought pointe shoes should be available in different width fittings. Now today that seems so normal to us, but at the time it was
possible.
Completely. So so that's what he did. And the idea that the shoe will fit the foot, not the foot will fit the shoe.
Which makes sense because everyone has a different fit and everyone uses different articulations.
Exactly.
So doesn't make sense actually.
Absolutely. When the pointe shoes were first made here at Freed of London, they were almost a bit like a slipper. They were very lightweight, the block wasn't reinforced, the insole was ever so flexible. But that was okay because then it was very much classical ballet and the technique was not that evolved. No one was extending their working leg above their hip line. Now we have so much more going on. So we've had to keep up with this and the shoes have evolved. So they're a little bit stronger. The vamp is a little bit longer. Again, all of these things to support the dancer. One of the more recent developments in maybe the last 10 to 15 years is the idea that the pointe shoe can be a plus. This is the dancer's tool. Without the pointe shoe, there is no such thing as classical ballet. And we've come to realise that if we get this correct, if we get the right shoe for the dancer, the right fit, the right recipe to support her, we can work with the medical teams at ballet companies and the physios to really limit injury and also as part of the process of them recovering should they unfortunately get injured. So this is an outer sole and it's very bendy. You see, it's kind of quite spongy. And we had to make a little channel or ridge in here because the top of the shoe and the sole of the shoe have to be stitched together. So when you put shellac and glue on, it's pointless on the outside because it's designed to be bendy.
It's so soft, like I know. Look at that. It's so soft.
This is one of our pointe shoe makers, and all of our makers have a symbol. And this is Shield Maker. He's actually layering up the ingredients that make up the block. And different combinations of these ingredients, so they're things like paper, hessian, cloth. Different combinations give you a different outcome. As technique has progressed, contemporary dance, not just pure classical ballet, we've had to evolve and develop the shoe, making it stronger in different ways to support the dancer. So these are all the shoe lasts that we have, all the different sizes, the lengths and widths. We can even do quarter sizes, so you can have like a 5 1/4.
Yes.
So it's, nothing is standard.
You know, sometimes dancers have a little bit like one size is slightly bigger, you know.
Absolutely, which is why we have the option that you can have just a tiny bit more. This is J-Maker, and you see here, she has put all the ingredients in the block and she's tied it down with a piece of string to hold it all together. After this, it will go up to the end of the room to be stitched. But if you look here, it's quite cool how they pleat the toe. Well, this is a half finished shoe, and you know we saw the leather, that's it, and that's that, and then he's stitching it. So he's now going to stitch it together. Yeah. So all the block ingredients have gone in, and as I'm saying, he's upside down, inside out, and now he's stitching that so it all goes together. Yeah. So this is Kwan, and Kwan's symbol is castle. He's castle maker. And he is doing this kind of final stage of production, which I think is, again, it's really interesting to look at. So he's turning the shoes in the right way. He then puts the insole in and puts it back on the last, and then does the final sort of external shaping and smoothing. So all of our makers have their own way of finishing the outside. How they finish the outside is really like their signature. And that's why we have this ability, if we know your size, we know the right strength. If you don't like one pair, we can give you a different shoemaker, because it's that nuance, that tiny bit of difference. So Rafi, he's a supervisor, so his job is to check the work, basically, to make sure the shoes are okay, to double check that they are what it says on the ticket. And this is where they do the cutting, measuring, and the binding. When the Pointe shoemakers have finished what they're doing, the shoes go into an oven overnight to be dried out. Now, originally, when the company started, they were all left to hang to dry by air, but that took ages, so we had to speed it up. So they go into like a little oven, well, it's a big oven, overnight, and are dried out. They then come in here, and all of the shoes get booked in, and they're kept in either the trolleys or in these sort of really trunks, I suppose you'd call them, and they move through the room, through the different stages of finishing. This one has been stamped. So it's got the stamp of the strength of the shoe, and also handwritten is the dancer's surname. And this one is heading for La Scala Milan. It's a dancer there. So, but you can see they're not finished. All the shoes are measured by hand, and we measure at 3 points: the vamp, the side, and the heel. The shoemakers next door, they're concerned about the top part of the ticket, the size, the insole, the instructions for the block and platform. This department, they're worried about the bottom, the measurements for the vamp, and is it a cotton drawstring or elastic? So these guys are looking at the second half of the recipe, if you like. Once they've been measured, they're then cut.
I see.
And you have a choice. You can either have the vamp cut to a V shape, like this one is a V, or some that are more open and round, or even a slight V. So it's really,
depends on their feet.
it depends on,
shape.
absolutely, on the shape of the toes, and what's more supportive as well for the dancer.
Yeah. No, I have a quite square feet, so mine is like a very foxy.
Still looks lovely.
Really
It's supportive, no, but you have to have it stronger at the side as well, because you have long toes.
Yes. Also,
So,
because also when I had my first Pointe shoe, I had such a wrong shoe. And actually my bunion got given a little bit. You know, so actually it was important to have like the right shape.
It's so important. The most important thing is that you have the shoe in the right size.
Yes.
If you have the shoe in the right size, hopefully then you'll have a long, happy career without too many problems.
Yes.
That's what we want.
Yes.
Here what's happening is what we call first binding. And there's just a tiny bit of edging fabric that's put on the shoe. And we just do that first, purely to give support. So it makes the front of the shoe a little bit stronger. So it's just across the vamp. Because if you imagine, when you're working through the foot and you're kind of on demi-point coming up onto point, there's a lot of pressure there.
Yes.
So that's to give it a little bit more strength. This shoe has been bound. And this is this is for a professional dancer because it's got very low sides and also a 3/4 shank. So it's very much her recipe. So it's not quite finished, but you can see the binding has gone on. So what happens here is the binding goes onto the shoe and inside that is the drawstring. And you can have either cotton or elastic. Elastic's more modern, more popular now.
It's good to have those options because sometimes in the morning your feet get swollen or it depends on the work. So
After a heavy tour, yeah, exactly.
so I have to sometimes just cut them and just stop it. So
And just let the feet out, yeah. This side of the production was very much Mrs. Freed's invention. So we've already discussed that Mr. and Mrs. Freed were quite revolutionary in how they looked at it. But not only did he want to give dancers choice, so make shoes in different sizes, really get the detail right for each dancer, he also realised that how pointe shoes were being made was never going to be profitable, really, or they couldn't make enough because the shoemaker made the whole shoe from beginning to end.
yeah.
So what they did was they separated out, which we've seen today, each bit of skill. So everyone has one area of expertise. And in here, this is, say, Mrs. Freed's idea. She was a hat maker, a milliner. So she came up with a very intricate way, very detailed way of measuring the shoe, of finishing the shoe. So again, everyone in here has an area that they are expert in. Yeah.
Beautiful.
When the shoes are finished, they come here for a final check. Are they the right size? Is the quantity okay? Is the detail in the insole? And this lady has been here for a very long time, and what her eyes see at the speed she works it out is quite amazing. So she's checking everything, making sure that everything is stitched correctly, they're pairs. And so hers are the final eyes for quality. This is our dispatch department, and from here, pointe shoes get sent all over the world. We've got boxes that we build each month, and they're going, well, you can see the names of the ballet companies. Yeah. So Norwegian National, Royal Danish, Australian Ballet. You know, Freed's is quite a small company, and here we're in the East End of London, but we are sending British-made shoes to nearly every ballet company that you could think of. So we start arranging the orders 4 months before the due date, before the delivery date. And that's because we make everything ourselves. We don't buy anything in. So we have to make the uppers, the insoles, the outer soles, every single part. So the ladies in the office start to process the orders. The information comes down to the factory. And it is absolutely a military operation. Each maker's schedule, they have the set amount of shoes they make, and we have to book in available slots. Some of our shoemakers are booked right the way through to 2026. There's that much demand. So ballet companies will send us their order for the season, and the dancer's name gets put against that maker's schedule. And then when the month comes round, then they're made.
I see.
If you're looking at how long it actually takes to make a shoe, it's a difficult one to say. Actually, in production process, probably about 3 weeks.
For one pair.
For one pair, for it to go through all the different stages. Yeah. The shoemaker himself works on them just in one day, but then they have to be baked in an oven overnight to dry out.
Yes.
And then they go into the finishing room. And deliberately, it takes a good maybe 2 weeks to go through this room. Again, that allows a shoe to dry out more. So to become harder, which is good.
I already had the meetings with you. You already suggest to have the right size, which I didn't think about it because normally answers. No, it's true because normally we want to think about the shapes when you're on pointe, which gets slightly shorter. So you need to have like a good length when you're in the demi-plie.
Absolutely, because you spend more time standing down flat or in a plie preparing to make that movement.
Yes.
So it's so important. And you're not alone. One of the biggest things that I do when I'm traveling around visiting ballet companies is trying to help dancers adjust the size. Yes. Because probably at one time, the size you're wearing was fantastic. But because you're so busy, you put them on every day, it's incremental and you don't realize that just little by little, maybe your body's changed and you need a little bit more space. Yes. People don't realize that.
Yeah, I already changed, I think 3-4 times just the size. I'm very happy with my shoe, but I had to adjust the size, which was a really great recommendation.
But again, how lovely. I first met you in Dresden. For me, that's so lovely that I get to meet dancers in all these different cities where they're dancing, and we continue that relationship, we continue that story. And now I've been doing this a very long time. There's people that I met as students that are now retiring and becoming ballet company directors or school directors. So I'm like, oh my goodness. So it's really a 360 relationship, and that's brilliant. It's just absolutely fantastic.
Sometimes, like with contemporary work, which I need a lot of demi points, and then I can wear like maybe 3-4 shoes, which is good. But with the swan leg, I wear 1 pair of point shoes, which is not too bad. Some dancers, they just change the point shoes each act, but I just keep 1 pair of point shoes.
I think it's very individual. I meet dancers and they bring out a shoe and they say, oh, this was a really good pair. It's done 2 Sun Lakes, it's done a Romeo and Juliet. It's very, very individual. And I guess as well, obviously at EMB, you're so well cared for. You've got an amazing medical and physio department, but also you have such a generous shoe allowance that makes sure nobody's having to dance in shoes that either don't fit them, which is really important, or they're running out of shoes. So that's so vital. I should say, and also the fact that for your company, the production values are so high that you will dye shoes, they'll be dyed for you to match the costume. It adds so much to the performance for the person in the audience because it becomes even more magical.
Yes, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. For me, it's so important to have a shoes that feel so comfortable. Even I never make a shoemaker, but there's certain connection to them because they know how my feet works, and it feels like just socks or like a bedroom slippers because they're so comfortable. But I can still show my best.
The point shoe is the tool for the dancers. So if I do my job correctly, I'm helping you guys find the right point shoe. So I then have to come back to the factory and tell the makers what's needed, adapt what they're doing to reflect what you need. And that really is so vital that we keep evolving and moving as you do. When dancers change ballet company, it's a different stage, a different repertoire. Often we have to tweak tiny bits of the shoe. If dancers have a baby, or as you go through your career, things change, things evolve.
Yeah, of course, because dancer body changes and training changes. We also dance in a different production. So I feel like the fruit, it continues to evolving in the same like as dancer does.
Oh no, absolutely, definitely.
Yeah. It's so amazing to see how the punches are making. Yeah, and I'm wondering just how long it takes to be like a become a maker.
Well, some people, it never works. You can see them thinking this is really crazy, but mostly it's about 6 months.
Okay.
And what happens is the apprentices start just making shoes for stock. So they become familiar with this kind of recipe, if you like, the kind of standard ingredients for that style of shoe that goes into the product. Then when they're confident with that and they've got picked up speed and they're making enough point shoes, we then start offering them out to professional dancers like yourself to say, okay, we can adapt the shoe, we can change. And say, hopefully, we're so lucky. Many of our shoemakers, our staff in general, have been with us for like 30 years, their whole career. So it really is, if they kind of don't think it's a crazy job, they do tend to stay.
That's amazing. I think because for dancers, it's very important, have all these makers.
Yes.
Because, sometimes it changes. And of course, we can adapt to it, but it takes a very long time to understand, how it works and how to find the right shoes.
Absolutely. I mean, you're completely right. So we always try and be prepared. It doesn't always work. If we know somebody's coming up for retirement, we look at a new maker, we offer like a trial shoe to the dancer so that we can calmly, without a panic 11th hour stressful situation, find a new maker. So it's an easy transition. Yes. That's the idea.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for showing us around. It's so fascinating to see how point shoes are made. And it's so, I don't know, I feel like there's a certain connection. First time coming here, but I feel like I've known this place so long time.
Well, thank you for coming. For us, we love showing people because you're the end product. You're the reason that we're here to make shoes for people like you. So it's wonderful. So thank you.
Thank you.